Welcome back for another episode of the I'm Not Salesy podcast. I am Cassie McKenzie, your non-salesy sales coach, and I'm so excited because I have a really fun guest today. So you guys know I started off on LinkedIn back, I would say like the end of 2022. I got like really serious about it. And so I've had the fortune just in a short amount of time, like 3 months on Instagram felt like 3 years sometimes, but 3 months on LinkedIn just goes by so fast because you get exposed to so many fun people who are like crushing it. And so today I have such a special guest because I have Debora Prossomariti on as my guest straight from Spain, although originally she's from Italy. So she already had plenty of points in my book from the start. And you'll have to excuse my cough a little bit. In Florida, the allergies have been nuts. So I am definitely not immune to all of that. But back to Debora. So Debora actually used to work for Meta and Pinterest as a social media expert and um, she's a personal branding and strategic marketing strategist with an engaged community of over 27,000 people on LinkedIn. And she really started building online intentionally in 2022 and has become a real master at inbound sales and helping people to optimize their LinkedIn presence and build a personal brand so that they can stand out from the crowd and really start getting inbound inquiries instead of having to, sit there waiting for the leads to come in. You're actually seeing them come in. So I'm excited. I feel like this is such a conversation that to a lot of people is elusive and they don't know how to do it. And I'm really excited to get into this. So welcome, Debora. And is there anything you'd like to add from your background that I know like I did the broad strokes, but feel free to fill in whatever you'd love to.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me today. I'm super excited to talk about sales, inbound leads, and LinkedIn. And as I started to get serious about it just a few months back, as yourself. So there is always a lot to learn from each other. So thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of these social media platforms, they're so similar, but there's a lot of nuances to them. And LinkedIn to me is like more of a gold mine than any of the other social media platforms out there, especially if you're in the business of helping people and if you're selling something. And so I'm just curious, what was the thing that made you really take that step to say, okay, I know I work with some high profile companies here, but I really want to go out on my own and start to make a name for myself in a personal brand on LinkedIn? And what did that look like for you? Because I feel like there's a lot of people out there in my audience who are, trying to make more sales online so that you can leave your 9 to 5 totally, travel the world if you want, spend more time with your kids or visit your grandmother more often, and not be tied down to a desk all the time. So what was your motivation there?
So there have been quite a few reasons why I decided to start my own thing. I didn't expect to do it so early in my journey, especially on LinkedIn, because it started to grow really, really faster than expected. I was already thinking about it, but like in 1 year span, not in a few months. And one of the main reasons is for sure the flexibility, because I've been learning a lot of languages. I've been traveling a lot, and I love like traveling and getting my own the freedom to travel, to visit people, to learn new cultures. And this is something that is really, really important to me. So being obliged to stay in the same city and just taking time off, so ask for time off to someone else is something that it has been not problematic, but it was something that was a bit bothering me.
Yeah.
And another factor was the fact that I realized that with spending less time, I could do more and offer more and provide more value,
Yeah.
and also get a higher ROI for myself.
True.
So with like fewer clients, I can create more valuable offers and I can get a greater impact without being stuck at a desk at specific times decided by someone else. So
Totally.
this is not the
Yeah.
reason.
In a lot of ways, it's like golden handcuffs, you know? And I feel like so many people, though, they struggle with having that consistent flow of clients coming inbound. And you said that you had a lot of really quick success. So, what do you attribute that to? You know, because I see a lot of people, like I talk to a lot of people in the DMs, right? And a lot of them are like, oh yeah, I'm just building this brand. Like they're personal branding specialists too. And they're like, I'm building this brand if so that I can launch my offer in a few months. And I'm like, why not now? You know, like build what's the problem? Well, it's not, it's a thing that's building, you know, it's not ready yet. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, I don't understand that because to me, from a marketing standpoint, you'd want to test your offer out anyway to see how it's being, you know, welcomed by the people. But also I can see how there could be for some like a lag time between coming online and then actually seeing the sales roll in, right? So what made you different? Like what do you feel like you do differently that you're excelling at that maybe other people can like really look at and get honest with themselves about, you know?
So the fact is that I was already in client management in social media. So I was account manager in Pinterest. So I was already managing a portfolio of accounts, both in when I was working in marketing strategies and sales within Meta and Instagram, and then for Pinterest. So the role itself is not super different from what I was already doing. So creating marketing strategies for my clients and aligning needs to make them convert
Yeah.
more. But I was working on the paid ad side, so
Yeah.
it was a bit different. So basically, I combine both my love for writing, so storytelling, and the knowledge related to social media management and like the psychology
Mhm.
behind sales, because sales is all about psychology and as well as marketing. And I started to build, really being myself, stay true to myself, sharing my own stories. And when I became serious about LinkedIn, I started to apply the marketing knowledge that I already had. So the strategies that I was already building for my clients, aligning with my own needs. And so I started to combine both sides, and I started to create content that was intentional,
Mhm.
like with specific objectives. So
Yeah.
each poster has specific objectives. It's not something just for the sake of it. Probably
Right.
some of them, yes, just for my own entertainment, but most of the time, most of the time, it has purpose.
Mhm.
So what I did was starting from myself. So I started with something that I knew. So
Mhm.
my passions, uh, still related, connected with my business. So like still on a professional side, because I have a lot of passions. I listen to music. I played piano for 15 years.
Oh,
I'm
fun.
into fitness. Of course, I didn't talk about everything.
Yeah.
I chose the topics that were aligned, and I decided to bring the like main pillars that were like it was also it was something that my ideal clients care about.
Mhm.
So it was also a way to attract them and align all aspects. And I
Mhm.
think the main difference here is that I didn't start selling straight away, like with the offer straight away. I didn't even have an offer initially because I was in my full time. I was just using LinkedIn for fun
Yeah.
and for like for networking opportunities and like studying, learning my own subjects.
Mhm.
So I started with the audience and I started to build my own brand around these topics that were like my passions, but also my work. So I share knowledge, and like with the specific content, which was more related to like as more the purpose of convert. So there are
Mm-hmm.
specific pieces of content that you can use to trigger action.
Mm-hmm.
It comes natural for people if they already know you to get in touch.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what percentage though would you say are people who reach out to you who already know you or that you know of versus the ones that are like, oh my God, I didn't even know you were following me and they end up in your inbox? Because like for
All of them, all of the sales calls that I had so far, they knew me already.
they did, okay.
Yes.
So because I mean, just this week, like there was one post yesterday that I made and I had 3 people in my inbox like right away and more. And I'd never heard of them before. Like I had not interacted at all, like did not know they exist. And I think that's the magic of social media, it's kind of like I always say it's like being in the grocery store, right? And you're buying bananas and it's like so people just look at the likes and they look at the engagement or they look at the look at like your what do you call it? Like the likes and the comments and stuff like that. They just look at the things that you can actually see. And this is where like manifestation comes into place too, right? It's like
Yeah,
dating,
that's true.
where you're like, well, there's no good men out there because you've just looked at the people right in front of you. It's like saying nobody's shopping for ice cream while I'm shopping for bananas. You know what I mean? Like there are people in the rest of the store out there and they're shopping for stuff all the time and they might come around to the produce section. So you better sure as hell be ready to sell to them if they're a good match for you. You know what I mean? Like it's just like dating. You better be available for them. And they're not going to come up to the people who are like, well, there's no good clients out there. Like that's a whole vibe. That's a whole energy. I feel like you bring the energy to like that's magnetic. Like we talked about this on our other call where you were like, yeah, I don't
Oh,
know, like
okay.
it just took over, you know what I mean? Like I'm just magnetic. I just, like people just love what you say. They follow you and they trust you. And I feel like that's where some other people are missing out. They're almost like there's like a laid back energy or there's like a desperation energy. You know what I mean? Like lean forward
Yeah.
and laid back. And you're like, to me, it's just, people are going to buy when people are going to buy. If they want to buy from you, that's great. If not, then like no biggie. There's plenty of other fish in the sea. So, but for you tapped on like the specific strategies that you were using at the beginning. Like you're very specific about the types of content and that there are types that will convert better than that, or like have that goal of converting. I don't want to say they convert better than others because not every piece of content is put out there to convert something, right? So, but what would you say, like can you speak to that a little bit? Like what are the types of content that are specifically for conversions? How can people identify those and start to use those more?
So usually it's like I usually take an holistic approach to
Yeah.
content creation and to my business as well. So an important thing is getting a lot of clarity and alignment. So
Mm,
what people miss is this clarity and this alignment with the big picture. So they share content, they share great tips about their area, their industry, but then they fail to connect with their like ideal audience and the people they want to attract the attention from. So there are differences, and another important point here is the social proof.
right. Okay.
And social proof and make it like it's like the likelihood of success from
Mhm,
your offer is very, very high, and the risk involved is low.
mhm.
Why? Because people, they try to avoid changing, like changes, they try to keep the status quo as much as possible.
Totally.
So if you manage to make very, very clear the cost of inaction it becomes higher, and the pain, like the pain of not doing like anything or keep doing what you are doing, uh,
Mhm.
it
Right.
becomes higher, then people take action because they really feel the need and they really feel the pain of not doing like something aligned with what they want to achieve. So there, I think it's is more about alignment, and it's like make very, very clear the pain points, what you actually help with, like the big problem that they have, and have clarity on their desired outcome. So, and also know your people. So if you don't know who you want to target and you are just talking to everyone, it's like talking to anyone.
Oh my God,
so
I know.
no one. So this is a big problem for most people, because they just want to get as much attention as possible. They want to get a lot of likes, a lot of reach, and they end up not like selling anything.
Exactly. Yeah. And I see this a lot with people. And I did the same thing when I first started as a coach, because I was like, well, I'm a life and business coach. I can help you with both. But like, there's a million life and business coaches out there. And what do you actually want to help with? You know, like some help with trauma. I am not your girl for that. Like some help, help with anxiety. And like, I can, but I don't enjoy it. And even in the sales conversation, like I did a 4-day Red Hot boot camp. Yeah, Red Hot audience boot camp. If you're listening, you can still get the link before I start charging for it. So go do it. But anyway, excuse me. Anyway, but like even the first day of that, helping people pick their niche, I was like, oh my gosh, I like this. I'm good at it, but I don't love it. It's not like getting into some conversations about like content and sales. I can really dork out about that. To me, your niche, you're like, niche down, for God's sake, pick somebody. It's like standing at McDonald's not knowing what to order. Like I was that child growing up where my mom's like, there's 5 things on the menu, it literally has not changed in 2 years, just pick something. So maybe because
I stare at the menu and then I pick everything, like all the same, every time the same thing. So
sure.
I still stare at the menu and then I end up picking the same thing.
It's so true, because you're like, oh, I don't, and that's a whole conversation in itself, right? But like, there's so many things you can focus on, but you do have to, like, how do you understand the problems of everybody? You just can't. So that's why it's so important, like you said, to know your customer, know what they're going through. So, and as far as that goes, like, why do you think that some people get leads and others don't? You're a master of helping people get the inbound leads. And I think that goes along with this conversation that we're having. Are there any specific things that they're doing or not doing that, some people are getting them and others aren't?
So one of the key factors is that they are hyper focused. They really they know exactly the pain points of their audience, the kind of support that they can give, and the people they are targeting. So, and the kind of results that can provide. Of course, not specific, because it like depends on the on a lot of variables and also the implementation itself. But if you have lists are clear, what you're doing, the top challenges that you help them with, the kind of results that they can expect, you can pass from digital marketer, CEO, specialist, ads manager, and a list of titles, saying that you can provide everything like in a very, very generic way, to be the expert for that specific need.
Yeah.
So whenever they have that problem, you will be the first one they will call, because you get to be you naturally become the go-to person related to that specific issue.
Yeah.
For me, that issue is marketing strategy in a very holistic and very structured approach. Why? Because I have a background in business administration.
Yes, exactly. I love that answer. Yeah. And I feel like you touched on something there, like, because of the implementation, I feel like that's where a lot of people also miss the mark, like that's where you can, download a PDF or consume content all day long, or listen to podcasts, and even do like a one-off session with somebody, or even a month-long session. But then the implementation, like having somebody there with you to make sure that you're doing the shit that you said you're going to do, and also, push through when it feels hard, because your brain, subconscious brain, is actually going to stop you, even though you consciously want the next level, your subconscious at every level is going to say, well, no, that's not safe. And so I'm going to throw this distraction out, and it's going to be really convenient because it's going to stop you in your tracks. So even though you know you're supposed to be messaging these people or responding to that person who just DM'd you the word that you said to DM, we're just going to go get popcorn in the other room instead and then get completely like distracted. You know what I mean? Or put it off for 2 weeks, or go in extreme cases, like, just completely burn out. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that implementation piece it's so important to have like, that's why I feel like it's so important to have a coach and have a mentor, because there are so many
Yeah,
times in
absolutely.
my career, yeah, like even in when I was working in corporate, but also when I've been a coach, that I've wanted to stop, and I've been like, oh my God, this is so hard. I can't believe it. But it's just hard because it's new, you know? It's just
Mhm.
hard because it's scary, and your brain thinks it might be scary to have the success you want. It's such a mind fuck. It's crazy. Like, it's so crazy, but like it's literally so true, you know? So
Yeah, the accountability part is it plays a big role.
um, I agree. So, okay. What, as far as like, you've got like a huge following on LinkedIn. I love it. So, did you find that like well, no, I want to ask this because I sent you a couple questions, before we got on, but what is the biggest thing that you think somebody can do to start getting more inbound leads if they're already creating content? Like, regardless of the size of their audience, because I don't feel like there's a huge correlate. I don't, that's a whole nother topic for another minute, but like, what do you think that the biggest thing that somebody can do to start getting more inbound? Like, say it's totally crickets in the DMs. It's like, even like they might be doing outbound DM strategies, but they're not getting anybody reaching out to them.
So I will start with what they know, so their business.
Yeah.
So if they have a lot of clarity on their ideal persona, like the buyer persona that they are targeting, the
Yeah.
main pillars. So I will start with an initial assessment.
Uh-huh.
So this is also what I'm doing with my clients. Of course, I assess their initial conditions, like their current status,
Yeah.
and where they want to get, but really in a specific way. Because it's not like if you just get as a goal, like get more followers, get
Yeah.
more views, like that is not a specific goal,
Right.
and you don't have anything to work on. So
Yeah.
work more on the like processes themselves and the system,
Hmm.
building a routine, but incorporate in a like replicable system in which you have actually like something to work on and it's aligned with what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just about creating content per se, because you can even get leads from comments.
Totally. Absolutely. That's
So
what I think
it's
people.
more about being aligned and do the things that move the needle. It's
Yeah.
not just everything. So pause, reset, understand what you are doing, getting clarity of your business, of your offer. So having an appealing offer is very important as well,
Mhm.
because if your offer is not good, you can have the greatest content, but people
Yeah.
will not buy.
Right. Yeah.
So that is also another very important point. It's not just about the content. Get as much social proof as possible. So current clients, past clients, make them share their feedback and get feedback from them, because like one of the main mistakes that I was making, especially at the beginning, was not asking for like the results, the
Yeah.
impact that I made. So this is another important point. So add keep track of all the results and the great achievements that you have for yourself and for your client,
Hmm.
so that you can show and not just selling.
Yeah.
So the
Absolutely.
show, not just telling, it's not just tell, it's something really important in content creation, I think.
Totally. And social proof is so underrated in a lot of ways. I feel like people, even I forget to do that, because we get into this like show, but there's so many, or, like teach mode instead of the showing mode, and I feel like that you hit the nail on the head there, because so I went and got certified as an NLP coach. I'm a life coach, certified, all that crap, but like, but really I wanted to learn how to use NLP with my clients to help move through like limiting blocks faster. And as a result, I'm actually here hypnosis trained. So I'm a
Oh, okay.
this was a book they gave us during the training. And so I'm a hypnosis practitioner. So I create hypnoses for my clients and for like some of the groups that I do and masterminds and group programs, and for myself too. Like it's super fun. And but I was reading through this book recently because I actually had never read it when I took the course, because the course was live. But there is a whole section in here about social proof. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even like that. It's such a psychological thing, right? It's such,
Yep.
your brain wants to look for and it's such a shortcut. It's a shortcut for getting people to see what's possible for themselves. And it's, if you're not using social proof, you're totally leaving money on the table, because like people are going, my husband listens to podcasts all the time, right? And afterwards there'll be like an Amazon book that shows up, and I'm like, you listened to another podcast with another author, didn't you? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, do you realize every single podcast episode is somebody selling something to you? They're literally talking about their method, selling something to you. Like, it's great information, but you've got to read the book. You know what I mean? It's like, and he was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. I'm like, well, yeah, like
It's
especially,
all psychology.
yeah, especially if it's like Joe Rogan's podcast. Like nobody's going on Joe Rogan's podcast and not selling something. Like even Ryan Reynolds does when he goes on there. But like having somebody telling you about what they've created with their clients, and having a client say, oh my God, my life totally changed, or wow, I got so much clarity, or hey, at least that profile, the problem with my profile looking boring as hell isn't, on the plate anymore. Like I got that one checked off. Now I can focus on just, serving clients. Like it's so, it's like the fast track, like the Disney fast track pass. I love it. So do you have an opinion about whether like regular testimonials or video testimonials work better, or like, what do you think is like the best, the, I mean, I know some answers for me, some of like the most creative. We actually saw one today, or yesterday, about how to use social proof, but what are your go-tos that you love to do?
So I think there should be a mix
Mm-hmm.
of different kind of or also formats, and it's important to align the social proof that you have should be aligned with the needs and the pain points that you like help overachieve or like overcoming
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to your expected clients, so your ideal clients. Because if the social proof is just I got this certificate, no
Yeah.
one cares. Like,
Nobody
why
cares.
should I care about your certificate or your qualification? So I care about social proof if it's so you did something, you
Mhm.
help someone with my same character, like very similar to me,
Mhm.
overcoming an issue that I have.
Mhm.
So that is the best social proof that I can see, because I see the transformation that you have, like you have enabled in someone else.
Yeah.
So if they can do that, if you can help them, like, and they have my same problem, you will probably help me as well. So I
Totally.
think that's an important point. In terms of video testimonials, I think they are more valuable than basic screenshots without names, like
Mhm.
screenshot with just like reviews without names and everything, because they can be fake.
That's true.
So I usually prefer to know the person
Mm.
who is speaking. So like the videos, they need to have the name included, and you can actually find the sources.
Yeah.
That's an important point, because I know that like a lot of people, they fake social proof, and especially on Instagram, it's it's really scary.
It is. Yeah. Totally.
And also, I think it should also be natural. So messages that you get from clients or emails, of course, with their permission,
Mhm.
and as well as screenshot of results. Of
Yeah.
course, if you have matrix, it's even better because you can actually feel like share the stats.
Mhm.
Or even case studies, because like in the case studies you can share social proof because you have the example of someone you have worked with, for example, like the example of work, but you can also teach something. So it's not just the mere how to
Yeah.
do something, but it's how I did something. So you have the educational aspect, but it's combined with the promotional aspect.
Yeah.
So this can be very, very powerful in terms of conversions.
It's like instant authority. It's crazy, like, and when
Yeah.
you can combine the educational with the authority, like the one I saw today or yesterday, it was like somebody had, I mean, it was like screenshots of the before and the after from the way the person had created their content before, and then the during, and then the after. And it was like such night and day, and also included what the client said after about the process working together and how easy it was. It's like, damn, that's genius. Like it's so simple. And but it's so powerful too, because I could see how people would be
Yeah.
like, oh my God, that person's so easy to work with, and she was able to show her personality through it too, so you're not working with like just like a wall. You know what I mean? So I love that. I feel like it's something that goes hand in hand with story selling as well, like building your authority with the stories that you tell about whether it's your brand story or your offer story, and how, like, showing your own before and after to really show other people what's possible for them too. Because I really feel like the biggest question people ask before they pay somebody to help them is this even going to work? Like, is this worth it? And yeah, there's some people who are going to just see it as an investment of like, yeah, this is an investment in me. I know it's going to work. And they go in with that kind of energy. But for others who are like, oh my God, I've tried so many things and that coach was full of shit. And I don't know if this one's full of shit too. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be that moment where they're like, oh, is this going to work for me too? I need to know that it works. And that's where it's so powerful to show that insight and to show your humanity in with it too. I'm big about adding your personality and like not looking flawless, right? Like that's what made me successful. That's what made me make 22 million in sales in 2 years. Like I had braces and a bad haircut. I looked like I was 14 years old, like I was I thought petite clothes were just for shorter people. I didn't realize they were actually tailored because you had shorter legs. But I'm like, a hot freaking mess, right? But it didn't matter because I was like, I owned it. I was like, whoops, sorry. And how can I be of service to you? You know what I mean? Like you've got so many opportunities to just be yourself and show that other people saw something in you too, and that you're there for the right reasons, right?
So yeah, that's the powerful thing of personal branding,
Yeah.
because it's like people can relate to you. If
Yeah.
you just show your highlights
Mhm.
and you maintain much more distance, because like life is not perfect. We all know that, like, social media is just a small part of our life.
Yeah.
So we don't show everything.
Mm-mm.
But if we manage to also share the struggles, the challenges that we face, especially the ones that like we have faced like 6 months before,
Mhm. Yeah.
or like 1 year before starting what you're doing, for example, that can help a
Yeah.
lot people in those specific positions. So the like being relatable and authentic, I
Yeah.
think it's one of the most important factors in personal branding.
I love it. Yeah, so true. Well, Deborah, this has been so much fun. I'm so thankful that you were able to come on the podcast and share your genius. And I know that you have something you can offer or tell everybody how they can get in touch with you online, but then you also mentioned that you have ways to work together. And can you just share a little bit about that so that people who are listening can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm building every day on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
I usually share insights on online growth, strategic thinking, and people skills.
Yeah.
So you can follow me on LinkedIn. And I also have a brand new website,
Yeah.
which is called www.debbie.pro. So that is a very easy to remember website in
It
which I share my offers, as well as I have free resources to get started with content creation. Is a content kit that can be downloaded for free.
is.
So that's a good resource for everyone who feels stuck to
Yeah.
overcome the
Yeah.
the writer's block. And I also like my main offer is one-to-one consultations. I help really develop a marketing strategy aligned with your needs to get clarity on the audience, clarity on the kind of content to share, as well as aligning the business goals with your marketing efforts. So get in touch if you need help, support with your personal branding to build authority on LinkedIn and get inbound opportunities.
Mhm. Oh, I love it. Yeah, so good. Guys, go follow Debbie. You will absolutely love it. I am so thankful for you for coming on. This was such a great conversation. It's really, I mean, I do this stuff every day. I teach people about this, but it gets me even going. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I could do that. I could do that too. Like you get so many ideas if you're open to it. Like, that's why I feel like we're always in learning mode. You know what I mean? Like, as soon the thing that separates successful people from unsuccessful people is the ability to like look at a topic that you've learned about over and over and over again and look at it like it's the first time. You know what I mean? Like listen like it's the
Yeah,
first time you heard
and
about
learn also.
it. Yeah. And
That's a big
it really is because you pick up like I don't want to if you're I love the quote that's like if you're the smartest person in the room, then get the fuck out of that room. Like seriously, like move out of the room, go find a different one. Like I don't want to be the smartest one in the room. I don't want to always be right. I want to be learning and getting better at what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So you did a fabulous job of that today. Thank you so much. Guys, go follow her on LinkedIn. Go check out the Debbie.pro website and download her content kit because I'm sure it's packed with so much value. So thank you so much. And we'll see you guys
Thank
on the
you.
next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.